we welcome you to the Fence Comedy Debate.
I'd like to welcome the first speaker for the negative team, Lehmo.
Thank you. Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Well, a wall or a fence. Personally, I find that proposal offensive. Are you with me, ladies? Do you find it offensive? I find it offensive. I mean, a wall or a fence, seriously, if these people, if they can find $10,000 to pay a people smuggler, they can find $50 to buy a bloody rope ladder, ladies and gentlemen, and throw it over that fence and climb on in. Originally it was stop the boats, next it'll be stop the ropes. I say stop the dopes, ladies and gentlemen. Stop the dopes who have come up with this ridiculous idea. And the problem with this harebrained scheme is that it is completely unnecessary, because there is nothing wrong with our current policies. They are amongst the kindest, the fairest, the most generous and the most effective on the planet. Now, I know that some of you pot-smoking, coal-hating whale huggers out there who make up the lunatic left are shaking your dreadlocks right now. But I have one question for you. Why do you hate Australia? Why do you and your ABC, it's not bloody my ABC, why do you and your ABC hate Australia? We're all meant to be on Team Australia. Why can't we be more like North Korea, where they're all one and they're happy? But don't worry, we will keep you safe. So listen up, hippies. When it comes to asylum seekers, here are the facts. You know, when I was a kid, growing up on a farm in the Murray Mallee, my parents used to take me and my siblings. Every year they'd take us out of the desert down to the West Beach Caravan Park in Adelaide for our holidays. And I remember wandering into the ocean. And I remember that salt water, how it smelt, how it felt. It smelt and felt, ladies and gentlemen. I didn't see one of those, but it smelt and it felt like freedom, ladies and gentlemen. That's what it smelt and it felt like. The only thing that could have made my experience better, I remember thinking, God, I'd love to get on a boat. I'd love to get on a boat. Wouldn't that have been nice? And when I'm on that boat, gee, wouldn't it be nice to bump into a naval ship? Of course it would. Oh, the joy, the excitement as a kid of getting those experiences. I never got a boat or a Navy ship. Our parents took us back to the desert. But these people, these boat people, they get to smell that salt water and taste that freedom every single day they're out there on the open seas. The boat that I wanted to travel on, they get to travel on the boat that I wanted to travel on. And they're greeted by a naval ship, the excitement, the buzz that they must experience. What a thrill for a young kiddie to have these experiences. So here it is, under sovereign borders, this is what happens. We meet them out at sea, all right? What happens next? Well, we can't bring them here because they're illegal job-stealing terrorists. You know, I met one recently. God, one snuck through the net back in the soft Rudd years. And I was down Brunswick Street in Fitzroy, this Afghan guy. How's his story? You want to know what he's done? He has gone and opened an Afghan restaurant where he makes delicious Afghan food at very reasonable prices. He employs about 20 people. The service is amazing. That's the sort of bullshit we can expect from these people. We cannot allow it. So once we meet them at sea, we invite them inside their very personalised luxury cruiser. And we allow them to sail back to Indonesia. Now, since Operation Sovereign Borders started, we have not reported on any deaths at sea. Nor have we reported on any boats making their way into our waters. And if you didn't hear about it, then it did not happen. Some people say it's a global problem that requires a global solution. Where we are doing our bit, we are pushing those boats back. So, problem solved, I think we can agree. Since 2013, I don't know off the top of my head what the numbers are, but I'm sure the deaths at sea have spiralled downwards since Operation Sovereign Borders kicked off. And we are smashing the people smuggling model. Let me tell you how it used to work. This is how it used to work with the people smugglers. People would arrive, asylum seekers would arrive in Indonesia, they'd meet a people smuggler, pay them a fee, then get on a boat, set sail for Australia, and then make it to Australian shores. That's what used to happen. Well, we've smashed that model, completely smashed that model. Now what happens is asylum seekers arrive in Indonesia, they meet a people smuggler, they pay them a fee, they put them on a boat, they set sail for Australia, and then they are intercepted by our Navy and sent back. We've completely ruined the model right there. Yes, and if they do make it into our waters, well, what happens then is, this is one of the great deterrents in the history of crime. It's called a paper incentive, right? If they do make it into Australian waters, in fact, we make them do so much paperwork that often they have to employ extra staff to count it all. And they head on back. What a turn-off. As for the people who have ended up in offshore detention, we'll talk about party time. They really are getting the holiday started on Christmas Island, Manus Island, or Nauru. I'm not sure which one that is, but I'm sure it's one of the three. And doesn't every kid dream of spending time on Christmas Island? You know, it may as well be called Ice Cream and Candy Island. I bet that every Christmas, those young Muslim kiddies from Islamistan or wherever they grow up, every Christmas, as they wait for Santa, they'd be putting out beer and pork scratchings or whatever they do. And as they're doing that, they'd be dreaming of a visit to Christmas Island, where dreams really do come true. Then, of course, there's Manus Island. What a beautiful part of the world. Kevin Rudd unearthed a gem right there. Part of the Admiralty Islands. What a beautiful, beautiful part of the world. And so generous is our policy that in Papua New Guinea, we are offering to relocate people from that detention centre in Papua New Guinea. Papua New Guinea, one of the world's favourite holiday destinations. What could possibly go wrong in Papua New Guinea? What a welcoming environment for these outsiders. The good news just goes on and on when you get to Papua New Guinea. And if they don't like the rest of the country, well, they can move to Port Moresby. Yes, one of the safest cities in the world. Then there's Nauru. The words island paradise mean anything to you, ladies and gentlemen. And you know, if you want to travel to Nauru as a journalist, you have to pay an $8,000 visa. $8,000! These people get there for free! They don't have to pay a cent! Oh, and the joy once they arrive. Now, detention centres, I prefer to call them home away from homes. They are free, they're luxurious. You know, it's $1 billion a year for 2,000 detainees. That's $500,000 per detainee, which is $1,400 per day, the same rate as an executive suite at the Park Hyatt in Sydney. So in monetary terms, they're basically staying at the Park Hyatt, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's right. So in conclusion, you don't have to listen to me endorse our success and compassion shown in our policies. Go to the UN. They've had some beautiful things to say about us. Go to Amnesty International. They've also had some lovely things to say about us. And we've cut our terrorist intake. Do you know how many terrorists arrived by boat in the 20 years before sovereign borders started? No, you don't, do you? No, you don't. So let's not discuss it. We do not need a fence, ladies and gentlemen, because we are all white. All right, we're all right. We are all right. Thank you.